What's up, everybody? Producer Chris here to talk about this 24-21 win, Alabama over Arkansas. A lot of ups in the first half, a lot of mediocre play in the second half. Let's start off here. Alabama total yards in this game, 415 yards, really good, I thought. Passing yards, Jalen Milroe, 238. Rushing yards, 177 yards on the ground. You look at that score box and you think Alabama should have beat the crap out of Arkansas. They were in the first half. Second half is a different story. We'll get into that. Arkansas, 250 total yards, 150 passing, 100 on the ground. I thought this defense played, pretty well, despite giving up 21 points. A couple of penalties we'll talk about later that extended a drive to give Arkansas a touchdown later on. But first, I want to just talk about the tale of two halves in this game. First half, Alabama absolutely dominating 21-6 at halftime. And then in the second half, they actually, if you break it into two, they lost the second half. 15-3 in the second half. Arkansas was obviously better. Really weird. Alabama can't close the game in a game that you should have beat the crap out of Arkansas. I think it was a 19.5 point spread going into this game. Looking pretty if you took it in the first half. Second half, not so good. Not so good at all. Let's see, Alabama, the first four games, they gave up 13 points in the second half. Today, they gave up 15 points in the second half. Now, 15 points in the second half, whatever for the defense. Overall, I thought the defense played really well, but that's a stat that they gave on the broadcast today. In the first half, the offense, 4 of 7 on third downs, pretty decent right there. Second half, I believe it was 0 for 6 on first down. Man, it was just, first half they were rolling. Everything was working. The deep ball was working. The running game late in the first half, we haven't really seen the run game be very good at all this year. And towards the end of the first half, I thought, man, we're about to 200 yards on the ground, easy. 250 on the ground, easy. In this game, and it ended up didn't get there. 177 yards on the ground, decent, but as well as it was going in the first half, I don't really know what happened there. In the first half, Jalen Milroe, he hit on 4 deep balls being over 20 yards, 79 yards to Kobe Prentice after that bad snap by Jason McClellan to make it 3rd and 15. A 44-yarder to Jermaine Burton, a 25-yarder to Ja'Cory Brooks on another 3rd and 15 after a sack. Those two plays, the 79-yarder and the 25-yarder, both after negative plays. I thought that was really good by Jalen Milroe, be able to shake those off and on 3rd and long, make a really good play. And then a 29-yard touchdown pass to Amari Niblack. He was wide open. It was a blown coverage, but still, Jalen Milroe, every now and then, when he sees somebody wide open, he tends to overcook it, overthrow somebody. That one, he just, emotions, he was able to keep it in check, just lob it right out there to him for a touchdown. 5 penalties for Alabama in this game. You would think that is better, and it is better. 2 of those penalties on defense we'll talk about later ended up allowing Arkansas to score a touchdown there in the second half. And then later in the game, only 3 pre-snap penalties. That's better than what we've had, but still, it's shouldn't be having any. So what I want you to do right now, grade Alabama versus Arkansas. Right now in the comments section, A, B, C, D, or F. This is going to be the pinned comment on the reaction today. Good in the first half, pretty bad in the second half. So, I'll let you have that one. I'll say it's about a C, right in the middle. I would have given it an A if they played the second half like they did the first half, but I mean, as we know, that did not happen. That did not happen. So grade in the comments right now, A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section. Okay, number 2, we're going to talk about the offensive line here. We saw Kaydn Proctor and Elijah Pritchett play at left tackle today. Jaeden Roberts was at right guard today for Darrian Dalcourt. We didn't see him at all. So 2 straight games of Jaeden Roberts. I thought he played pretty decent. I mean, we'll see the PFF grades tomorrow and really break it down and, see how he played overall. But in this game, man, this left tackle is absolutely killing us. That's where all of the sacks came from. All the sacks. Jalen Milroe got sacked 5 times in this game, all because of the left tackle position. Now, I know there was a couple times they kind of overloaded the right side, and Justice Haynes, who we've been asking for, missed a block. He was there. The protection was correct. Just overall, the protection was right. He just didn't make the block. Kaydn Proctor giving up 2 sacks on the game. Elijah Pritchett, he only played the second quarter. That was it. He was there for the entire second quarter, gave up 3 sacks. And this is from a guy who was the number 4 offensive tackle in the 2021 class. And we've seen how Proctor has played coming into this game. And something that I told our main host, Tom, was, man, Elijah Pritchett's worse than this? I guess he is. Proctor, he gave up a couple sacks himself, 2 sacks today. We got to figure out that left tackle position. The offensive line overall played pretty decent. Seth McLaughlin, like I mentioned earlier, only one this time, 1 bad snap. But we're at home, man. We're at home. It's not loud at all. What are we doing? We're not even going on a silent count. It's the clap. So, I mean, there's no reason that should be happening at all. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But overall, the run game, like I said, late in the second quarter, really, really good. The offensive line was getting a push. They were getting a push. And I thought going into the second half, we were going to end this game 150 yards on the ground. It just did not happen for Alabama in the second half. They hold on to win, obviously, but pretty abysmal by the offense overall, not just the offensive line. Pretty abysmal in the second half. So number 3, we'll go to Kevin Steele in the defense. Man, Kevin Steele so far this year has been good. He's been really, really good for this Alabama defense. Last year, the year before, pretty mediocre. Overall mediocre. This Alabama run defense, this defensive line is just absolutely insane. We saw Jameer Latham make a couple plays for Alabama today. We saw Q Robinson make a couple plays today. I love that. I love seeing those guys come in. Tim Keenan has been great so far in the 2023 season for Alabama. Overall, I can't ask for much more. I know the box score gave up 21 points. Whatever. Arkansas only had 250 total yards. 150 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. You'll take that every single time. You had the 2 penalties that we mentioned earlier, both on third down. 1 PI by Caleb Downs, which, probably was PI at the end of the day. It was close, kind of all over the guy, but, whatever. We had a face mask before that on the same drive by Jalen Key. That was also on third down. Those 2 plays ended up in a touchdown for Arkansas. And the way Arkansas's kicker was playing today, I'm not sure, late in the second half that they would have kicked the field goal, but he probably would have made it. So at the minimum, we gave them 4 points. At the maximum, we gave them 7. So, at the end of the day, I thought the defense played really, really, really well. Arkansas was only 4 for 14 on third down. That's great. That's great. They had 13 first downs. Whatever. That's fine. But man, 4 for 14 on third down. That is absolutely incredible. That is incredible. So right now, I want to ask you guys, who gets Alabama's game ball today? Who is it? You got a couple guys up for the running. Tyrion Arnold, he was playing more at star today than at corner. That was very interesting. The sack totals for Alabama, 3 total sacks is what I'm seeing right now on the stat broadcast. I think really that actually comes out to be like 4. That comes out to be 4 sacks because Justin Agbogbie, half a sack. Dallas Turner, half a sack. That's another one right there. So let me know in the comment section, who do you think is Alabama's MVP for this game? Personally, I think it's somebody on the defense, but let me know, could be somebody on offense. We asked for more Kobe Prentice earlier in the week. Got a 79-yard touchdown pass from him. Jalen Milroe played incredible in the first half. Second half, not so well. So let me know in the comment section right now. The number 4 takeaway for me in this game, Jalen Milroe, let's talk about him for a little bit. Great in the first half. He started off the game something like 7 for 10 and ended up 10 for 21 total in the game. 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown also. It's up and down. It's up and down every single week. He played overall pretty well in the first half, Jalen Milroe had 215 passing yards. Second half, 23 passing yards. 23 passing yards in the second half. I get you trying to run the ball in the second half, but man, he hit deep. He hit deep on a couple times in the first half and missed a couple. There was one to Jermaine Burton that was dropped that right outside his reach. There's one by Jalen Hale that was right outside his reach. Great effort by Jalen Hale diving for that ball. First half was absolutely amazing. Second half, pretty bad. Just stale, completely stale in the second half for Alabama's offense. 141 yards total in the second half. 274 in the first half. Man, I thought this was going to be a game. I thought my score prediction was going to be pretty freaking close to right. I predicted, I think, 14-40 was going to be the final score. And going into halftime, I was like, man, that's going to be damn close. That's going to be damn close to being correct. But, overall, I thought Alabama showed toughness on defense late in that second half to be able to stop Arkansas from making the complete comeback. The offense, though, man, in the second half, they have got to get it together and be able to finish games. One of the only games they've really been able to finish was that USF game. They finished. They kind of finished against Ole Miss. They kind of finished against Mississippi State. But to me, I still wasn't. It was mediocre. It was mediocre, in my opinion, in the second half of those games. And it was bad. It was very bad in the second half of this game. So a lot of ups, a lot of downs for Alabama. I think Clint Lamb of On3 made a great tweet earlier in the game. This Alabama team, a lot of people may say they're inconsistent, but they're extremely consistent. They've been extremely, not mediocre. They're just a little above mediocre. Every single game, they haven't played a complete game yet. Even against Texas A&M, there were things that, the penalties, terrible. against Texas A&M. There are things that Alabama can get better, and I think they are getting better. A big game, massive game versus Tennessee next week. We got to come out strong. You know, Alabama has still only scored 1 touchdown on the opening drive so far this season. They've scored 2 times total. 1 was a touchdown, 1 was a field goal. And you got to start off fast, man. Alabama has not been able to start off fast. They end up getting in a groove kind of the end of the first half, and then you don't know what happens in the second half. It's up and down. So, you know, big game versus Tennessee next week. We will be live for a watch party against Tennessee next week. This will be the first watch party of the season, I think ever, for the Alabama Football Report covering an Alabama game. And man, I cannot be more excited for it. We will be live probably, 30 minutes or so before that game starts. But make sure you subscribe here at the Alabama Football Report. My name's Chris Daughtry. I'm the producer. We'll see you next time.